I prefer stick shift over automatic because first of all, if you're driving in stick shift, you can actually control what the car does. Um, Basically, what I mean by that is um, automatics. The shift points are controlled by a computer, so which means the only thing you can do is um, slowing down. Like take for example, slowing down by stepping on the brakes, but then your car would be at a lower RPM, so which means if you wanted to accelerate faster, you have to get into a higher RPM range to get into the power band. But with stick shift, what you can do is you can pretty much slow down by stepping on the brakes, but then also immediately speed up again by downshifting and um, getting your RPM or getting your RPM range to be even higher. So which means your car stay in the same power band, but then to go faster you just upshift and go even faster. So there's like no there's not quite of a time difference in between slowing down and stopping if it was a stick shift car. And because with a stick shift you can control when you want to shift and how high of an RPM you want your car to go. So say for example, my mom's car is a SUV. It's an automatic, and if I wanted to say hit like 5,000 RPMs or so, I would have to basically floor the gas pedal, and even then you'd have to be lucky basically to have the car hit 5,000 RPMs or that exact amount, because I mean unless you take it to like a drag strip and like floor it every single day, so you would know how much pressure you need to floor to that exact RPM range. With a stick shift car, you can choose to to what range you want your car to go to before you shift into the next gear. So that being said, I prefer driving stick shift because it's a lot more fun, it's a lot more entertaining, and you get to really feel how the car drives, and basically you control the car by going faster or slowing down, and also the fact that because ever since switching to stick shift, there have been twice where I was driving my mom's car, and let's just say that it was during the nighttime, and it was around like 9 o'clock or so, and I was just driving around in the residential areas, and I was actually falling asleep, and by the time I had gotten into my garage here and parked the car, I had realized that for maybe like 5 seconds or so, I had actually fallen asleep in front of the wheel, half asleep when I hit the driveway, and completely awake when I was in my garage. But as for stick shift, that doesn't happen because you have to control stepping on the clutch, which requires your left foot, in both the brake and the gas, and control with the right, but then also shift gears with your right hand and control the steering wheel with your left hand. So you basically have no time to fall asleep, or else you would be in a potentially more dangerous situation than when you're driving an automatic and you fall asleep. So that is why I prefer stick shift over automatic. I want to drive stick shift and not an automatic because what I just said before, it's a lot more entertaining, and you can control the car the way how you want, uh, and not the car controlling you because of the shift points that's programmed in the car. I mean, of course you can get like a custom tune for it and pick your own shift points, but I think it's still a lot easier if you just control it by yourself without getting it tuned by driving stick shift. Because like I said, you can get it up to whatever RPMs you want before you either downshift or upshift. But in automatic, all you can do is floor the gas pedal or slam on the brakes, or go easy on the brakes and like lightly press the gas pedal. But you can't get the certain RPM range that you want. I think the most important reason is because I was inspired by my uncle. He ever since childhood he brought me on car rides, and he would always just speed during the nighttime, because in Taiwan during the nighttime, especially if you're like in a really small town, like where my mom's family resides in, there's absolutely no cars on the streets by like 9 to 10 o'clock. So when we go out to say like, I don't know, take for example like 7-Eleven, or in Taiwan they have Family Mart. There's no cars on the streets, so he can basically go as fast as he wants without being like caught, or not worrying about if there's any other civilian cars. So he's basically my role model for stick shift. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have been this much into cars. I mean, even though my dad, he used to drive stick shift, but my dad never talked to me about like car stuff. Like when I got this car, the only thing that he taught me was how to shift and stuff. But he never quite talked about aftermarket car parts, racing or anything, engine specs, nothing. But my uncle, um, he talked about his Honda a lot, but at that time I didn't know crap about cars, so um, so at that time I wasn't really I didn't even understand it, but now that I do know some stuff, um, if he tells me more about it, I might get it more. So that's why I prefer stick shift, because I believe that by driving stick shift more over a long period of time, um, that would encourage me to dive into the subject of cars even more. Therefore, understanding more concepts and getting to understand the car world even more. I like driving on Pierce Road because, first of all, if I didn't want to go up to Highway 9, which is like a bigger version of Pierce Road, I could just go onto Pierce Road because, first of all, um, going up and down that mountain road, first of all, I don't waste much gas. Second of all, there is a racing line up there, which is actually really fun to drive. I don't do it often, but when there's no cars, going over the lines a bit, yes. But overall, it's just fun, especially during the nighttime, when there's just no cars and it's just yourself. You get to really observe how the road looks like, and if there's like any bumps and stuff. And for drivers like me, I wouldn't quite call myself a a racer, even though I have done some stuff before. But I've completely just cut down on that now um, because now that my car, now that I know that it needs a transmission rebuild, I try to put it under the least amount of torture it can possibly get, but then at the same time enjoy it. So it's sort of like I sort of have to balance both sides: the negative part, which is that it needs a transmission rebuild, and the positive side that I could enjoy this car even though it needs a transmission rebuild. So that's sort of what Pierce Road provides me, because I can take this car up and have fun with it, but not damage the car enough that I believe will prohibit me from driving on Pierce Road. And because Pierce Road is basically a start for amateurs who actually want to go circuit racing, because I realize that the racing line up there it has pretty good key concepts on like uh, what you have to do for actual circuit racing. Like for example, for turns, Pierce Road has right now I can think of at least 2 to 3 turns that actually have like an apex. So basically, like you guys know, like going from the outside to the inside, cutting through the corner and coming out. Pierce Road has some of those good ones, and at the very end, at the top, the Mountain Winery. There's actually 2 sharp turns. I would say like probably like half circle turns in a way. So there's first one half circle and then the other half, and I mean, if other racers or other drivers want to do it, they can, but they pretty much, what I figured out was they could pretty much just go from the outside and cut through the two corners, which therefore makes a straight line up the two turns, because it's also an uphill. So they could basically just go from the outside, cut through the two turns, and then exit out on the top. But yeah, that's pretty much it about Pierce Road. It's just basically whenever I want to drive for fun and not waste any gas, then Pierce Road is basically the way for me. And that I get to improve my own techniques as well, such as the double clutch downshift and the heel to toe downshift.